According to The Gaming, it's been critically acclaimed that video games with the addition of water is in fact a bad time. Sluggish gameplay, poor controls, not good. All these quotes may be valid and authentic, but I still like my video games wet. It's weird, even though they're objectively bad, I still have a lot of fondness towards them. Maybe it's because I love the ocean and its funky little creatures, maybe it gives games variety which breaks up the monotony of gameplay, or maybe it's the aquatic ambience. Underwater can be such a cool and creative location, and this makes me really confused because swimming is so much fun in real life, why does it bloody suck in video games? Even the game with underwater creatures, they don't go underwater, do they? They just swim around in little ink splats. Inklings die if they touch the ocean. But then you see that inkling as it explodes, and you ponder what an underwater level would be like with that game's world and mechanics. And this seems to happen to me all the time. Whenever I see water in a game and I can't explore it, my imagination goes bonkers for what that could look like. Unfortunately, I don't work for Mario! But I think there's an internal, unspoken rule at Nintendo for why water levels aren't in these games. And I think what it comes down to is underwater levels in video games have a tendency to suck ass. But why? Because of this, this, and this. Everything annoying about swimming in real life, they keep in video games. For instance, compare underwater to outer space. Space levels tend to add some really fun game mechanics and not really worry about the whole oxygen thing. So what in the Green Goblin is it doing here? Watery environments feel like they've become devoted or maybe even obligated to just be areas with oxygen timers for tension or something. But this feature doesn't feel novel anymore. It just feels archaic, the same way live counts do. Out of all the cool game mechanics you could take from reality, you chose the respiratory system? And what else did they decide to make a trope of water levels? Soggy movement. Because it's wet, but also not very nice. It's just a much slower, monotonous version of when you're on the surface. And I don't think turning into a fish is a sustainable solution. I don't really blame anyone for hating underwater levels because this movement obviously makes land the better option. Who wants slow, boring, difficult controls when this is so much nicer? Over the years, tropes of water levels haven't just limited the gameplay to feel underwhelming, but limited the environments to look underwhelming. For the majority of the gaming industry, the imagination for water levels feels visually locked, like, this is a water level, now keep it that way, or else I don't know what's gonna happen. Where's the creative take, or any take? The ocean is a fantastical location, an unexplored alien world we've only seen 5% of. When I blather about a level concept, I should be unsurprised to find out it's already in a game. But nope, one of the most interesting and diverse locations is as cookie cutter as it gets. Are developers only allowed to be inspired by Google Images clip art? Mario Odyssey is a specifically sad case because it strikes a weird mid-ground of incredibly cool water-centric locations that are simply just okay in their theming. The game sells itself on how every location is extremely diverse and different. So why in my memory are these some of the most forgettable kingdoms in the game? The Lake Kingdom, a hub for fashion, Greek-inspired architecture with a beautiful color palette and environment design. The Seaside Kingdom, a cliffside beach resort where the ocean is carbonated. That's such a fun concept and gives so much potential for theming, but both were simply forgettable? These ideas were only explored so much, just compare them to the other kingdoms' personalities. Quit being hydrophobic, Mario! Finally, we have all the negative points out of the way, and we can move on to the positive. Some game series have become scared away because of how poorly previous attempts of underwater gameplay were received, which is such a shame. Take the Monster Hunter series as a perfect example. Monster Hunter Tri for Wii. The standout feature of this game was that you could now hunt underwater. Then you play it.
Not good.
Monster Hunter try? Monster Hunter try again! Swimming was so
Wowza.
You'd think Capcom would give it another shot, but it's been 12 years since that game, and there's been no return to underwater. Now I guess some aspects of it haven't entirely gone to waste. They kind of recycled the effect they wanted with underwater into height elevation, but that still left lots of ideas on the cutting room floor, which means we don't get to see all these cool monsters anymore. I miss Legaia Chris. But it's not all doom and gloom, you know. There are some games that do fantastic water levels, and do in fact stand on their own 2 feet. Or flippers. The Donkey Kong Country series, absolute classics. Rayman Legends, absolutely legendary. The 2D Sonics, they aren't too bad. But I noticed a very interesting pattern here. All of these examples I have mentioned are exclusively 2D games. 3D games don't do water levels very good. See, when it comes to 3D platformers and 3D action-adventure games, aka 3D Mario and 3D Zeldas, I just feel like there's so much potential. Not missed potential, potential, but it's no longer missed because we're explaining it in this video. So, how could underwater levels be improved? Oxygen, despite its defectiveness, serves a really smart gameplay purpose, giving a little smidge of difficulty and tension to the player and keeping them on edge. However, what could do all of this, but better? Introducing depth. In the simplest description, the deeper you go down, the more limited you are in movement and sight. First off, this is a dramatic overhaul for atmosphere. Since your vision gets obscured and motion becomes limited the deeper you go, you can forget being stressed about a little oxygen meter on the UI. Your top concern is now what's behind you, or below you, or to the left of you, or the right, or really any direction you're in the water. Sorry in advance to anyone with thalassophobia. It's a fun word. But the purpose of depth isn't just theatrics. See, when you're on the surface or in very shallow waters, you can see everything beneath you. Hazards, enemies, key items. Sure, you can't see that clearly from all the surface ripples and waves, but that introduces this fun gameplay of knowing roughly where you need to go, or where not to go, with the circle of correction getting smaller and smaller the deeper you get. Almost like vertical archery. And outside of the emotional pressure given on the player, depth could also give literal pressure. Where going deeper is like an arrow to a target, going higher is like a stone in a slingshot. When in the water, if you continuously jump towards the surface, you will shoot out of the water to insane heights. Kind of like the rocket nozzle in Super Mario Sunshine. This can get you to reach platforms that usually would be way too high to reach. And of course, the deeper you are, the higher you'll fling. Now, I'm no game designer by any means, but I really feel like adding depth would add a lot of depth. Now, with that sorted, how do we improve the motion and controls of swimming and avoid the current emotion and controls, where controlling with 360-degree movement makes you cry? Alright, hear me out. If swimming in video games is unanimous with words like tedious and boring, why is real-world swimming so much fun in comparison? The answer? Flumes! And propulsion. What we need to do is build upon the most successfully fun, silky smooth swimming controls available. It's Minecraft. Minecraft swimming controls is pretty much just flying with blue tinted glasses on. So my grand plan to improve swimming controls is to exactly copy the Minecraft's swimming controls, but additionally with a virtual propulsion system. So we start off with the general swimming. The same 360-degree controls found in Minecraft, but just a smidge slower. Pressing ZR or ZL near a platform, object, or terrain performs a wall grab, clinging you onto the surface, but limiting your movement to a slow crawl. However, this gives you incredibly precise omnidirectional aim, and from this point, you have 2 options. Let go of the triggers and start swimming from where you grabbed, or perform a wall kick. Pressing the jump button from a wall grab propels you off the object at an immense speed in the direction you aimed. But be wary, because the great speed means you can easily lose control. Wall kicks could be great for speedrunning since you can chain them together platform to platform. Wall grabs make swimming overall a lot easier, giving you a chance to get a sense of where you're at, and this is all alongside the best DNA of 3D swimming. Minecraft. Easy to pick up, hard to master. It's the recipe for good game design. And I guess chuck some HD Rumble in there for good measure, because it'd be fun. Now, I could sit here and spend 30 minutes plus talking about some water level concepts? Like, why haven't we seen a level in Mario where there's a plastic bag with cute little face as an enemy? Huh? Why hasn't that been a thing? It'd be awful. But I don't think the issue is developers unable to think of fun locations. They 100% can. I just think they're unable to explore these ideas as much as they would like. It's not a priority for them. The only time they really are available to explore watery ideas is when the game itself is themed around water. Echo the Dolphin, Super Mario Sunshine. Those are the only two, which makes sense. A limitation often brings more creativity. So really, there's only one solution to this. Mario Sunshine 2. The ocean is a remarkable place, both in games and in the world. And they're both treated very similar. Not a priority. Complaining about water levels is easy, everyone's done it, but I hope my criticisms and solutions can help give this wonderful biome the respect it deserves. Even though I'm not a game designer and everything is conceptual, and even if these ideas never see the light of day, it was really rewarding to think of some solutions and do more than just complain. We're incredibly good at noticing problems and giving criticism, but finding solutions and acting on them the best we can is way more exciting and rewarding. From as important as our planet to as novel as a video game. Now, how do I get home? My hands are pruned. I am so sorry for taking so long to make this. I truly apologize. And I also want to thank everyone you see on screen right now, because even with me being not uploading for 3 months, these guys continue to support me, and it is absolutely incredible. So I'm not just putting, the level 3, I'm just putting all of them, because all of you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for supporting me for this long. And even if you're not a patron, thank you so much for just waiting and being patient with me. I would be super annoyed with myself. So I genuinely apologize, and just thank you so much for being so patient. Also, Ultimate 145 and Bapathy are absolute legends.